The secondary domain, we called it the astral or the subtle. This is where, from a meditative perspective, this is where the knots of trauma and karma are tied. They're tied there. They're not tied at the tertiary level. They're tied in the astral. They're not tied at the causal or super subtle level. They're tied at the secondary level. This is where the knots of karma are tied. Whether we conceive of and recognize those knots were tied in the past lives, whether we think they were tied in the ancestral line, or whether we think they were tied in our personal history, they're first tied in the higher astral structures of our subtle body. That's where the karmas are tied. And then, as a soul carrying these knots, we have entered into the dream to untie them, to untie them. And how do we do it? We do it by they attract us to other beings or souls, other states of consciousness who are knotted in similar and or complementary ways. Kriyananda used to put it this way. You're in a boat and you're circling an anchor over your head. He used to say you're chanting a mantra. I'll say it this way. You're chanting at least 6 mantras. You know, you're chanting, I want to get married. I want to be independent. I want to have a lot of money. I hate money. You know, all these contradictory chants are going on. And we throw the anchor out, it lands on an island, and then we start pulling. And then his meditative question to the disciples is, are you pulling the boat to the shore, or are you pulling the shore to the boat? It's not a trick question. You're my knots. I go to the island where there are the beings who have similar and or complementary knots to be untied. If I don't untie the knots at the subtle level, the weight of those issues will drive me to the tertiary domain, where I will be required to work them out fundamentally with people, events, and things. And this is where the chakras and the map of the chakras and the methodology of the chakras become so powerful, because the map of the chakras guides us back to the places within our own subtle nature, within our own soul, where the knots have been tied. And the methodologies allow us to untie the knots at subtler and subtler levels of consciousness.